What is going on, guys? Nate here, and today I would like to talk about Starfield, possibly Bethesda's next major new IP, and also possibly nothing at all. I've mentioned this title before in previous videos, but I've been unable to cover everything that I wanted to, and there just seems to be such a large conversation being generated from this potential game that I think its own video is definitely justified and relatively overdue on my part. So today I'd like to talk about everything we know about Starfield and when we can expect to hear something about it from Bethesda. The name Starfield was first trademarked by Bethesda all the way back 4 years ago in March of 2013 by the Maryland studio. The trademarks included protection of the name's usage in a variety of different mediums, such as software, games, and even clothing and apparel. And from then all the way up until 2016, absolute radio silence was all we got on the part of Bethesda. No verifiable leaks or official announcements or even hints by the studio. Just complete quiet. It got to the point where people just assumed that Starfield must have been an abandoned project. Perhaps Bethesda had an idea at one point, but just later gave up on it because it's been so long. However, the likelihood of such a theory was certainly put to rest in April of 2016, when the trademarks for the name Starfield were not only renewed, but also expanded to cover mobile games as well. This proved that Bethesda still at very least held an interest to whatever this name was supposed to be, and the fact that they opted to also cover mobile games proves that the title was/is expected to be big and serious enough for Bethesda to even consider a mobile game based off of it. Bethesda has seen a lot of success in the mobile games industry lately, with Fallout Shelter and the rather smooth progress of ESL, so if Starfield is the next big IP, we can probably expect to see its own mobile spin-off. That's what we know in regards to just the trademarks, but in addition to that, Bethesda has also confirmed that they are indeed working on at least two, quote, major projects to release before The Elder Scrolls 6. Now, if you've been following this channel lately, you know I've brought up those two major projects a lot before. Bethesda also claimed that they would be, quote, unlike anything we have ever done before, but still the same type of game that you would expect from us, end quote. Now, the way I personally interpreted that phrasing, the quote, same type of game you'd expect from us part, indicates yet another series of open-world non-linear sandbox RPGs. And the unlike anything we've ever done before part is probably alluding to a new setting in my opinion. Bethesda has already covered the medieval fantasy and apocalyptic settings, and a name like Starfield implies something very different than both of those, space and sci-fi. Themes Bethesda has yet to explore that personally I'd like to see the studio try their hand at. Would it be a single foreign planet we'd be placed on, or would it be more of a no man's sky approach, with perhaps an entire system at our disposal? Space is an area with infinite possibilities, that it would make sense for Bethesda to try out as a new location if they're not doing Elder Scrolls or Fallout, but still making an RPG. So if it's happening, when can we expect Starfield? Well, from a logistical standpoint, an announcement at E3 2017, aka this upcoming E3, would actually seem to be the most probable time. I say seem to be, however, because despite the information I'm about to present, no credible leaks or indications that this is the case have emerged yet, and we are eerily close to E3 2017. For context, by this time back in 2015, we were already fairly certain that Bethesda was going to announce Fallout 4, thanks to all the hints and leaks that the studio provided. So the fact that we don't have any of that information now is definitely concerning. But the main reason an E3 2017 announcement makes so much sense otherwise is mainly because The Elder Scrolls 6 is expected to release in 2019-2020. Ish. If The Elder Scrolls 6 comes out in 2019, then fantastic. We are looking to get a game per year between now and then, assuming that Bethesda intends to separate these two major projects by at least a year. Starfield in 2017, whatever the other major project is in 2018, and of course The Elder Scrolls 6 in 2019. Even if Bethesda is not planning on releasing TES 6 until, God help us, 2020, an E3 2017 announcement at least of Starfield or whatever would still seem to be the more probable approach, because now Bethesda has 4 years to release 3 major games, essentially giving Bethesda a gap year that, if used now, and nothing is announced in 2017, would force Bethesda to have to rush 3 games out in 3 years again, and I think Bethesda would much rather exercise a free year, perhaps after the 2 major projects have released, to give them more time with TES 6, or right after this hypothetical Starfield release. These other 2 options would give Bethesda far more breathing room, and I'm sure they recognize this. Furthermore, this entire argument still affords Bethesda the benefit of the doubt, in of it that they intend to release these games the same year that they announce them, similar to how Bethesda handled Fallout 4 and The Elder Scrolls V Remaster. Fallout 4 was announced E3 2015, came out less than 5 months later, November of 2015. Same thing happened with The Elder Scrolls V, announced 2016, came out 2016. Now, Bethesda might not want to do that with Starfield or this new IP because they don't have that same level of brand recognition. What Bethesda was able to do with Fallout 4 and The Elder Scrolls V was release them right when the hype train was at its peak, right when the most people were interested. They were able to immediately rush that game out. Nobody expected them to come out so quickly. And the only reason why that worked is people already knew what these games were, and they already had established followings. A hypothetical Starfield or whatever the hell Bethesda releases next that isn't Fallout or Skyrim won't have that same level of recognition, and perhaps Bethesda might want to wait to generate even more hype and conversation around these games rather than just release them right off the bat, which would incline Bethesda to announce these games sooner rather than later. So with all of this supporting, I guess you could refer to it as evidence, I'm very hopeful that E3 2017 will bring some new major Bethesda IP announcement, and that new IP will likely be Starfield if anything. But again, Bethesda's doing an amazing job at hiding it if that is their sincere intention. With no leaks announced and so little information to go off of, you really have to wonder, is Bethesda intending to shock us and stun us with excitement at E3 2017? Or is their conference going to be just as boring as it looks at face value? I'm very stressed out over this question. But regardless, I hope you did learn something new about Starfield from this video. If you did, a like rating is always very much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below with your opinions. What would you like to see from Starfield? Why or why not do you expect to hear anything about it anytime soon? Again, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Peace out, everybody.